Kylian Mbappe who is scoring, and look at the fans. They have again started comparing Kylian Mbappe with those 50 Champions League goals which he has achieved with the likes of Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, because it was Lionel Messi who scored those 50 Champions League goals at a younger age, and it was Cristiano Ronaldo who scored at the age of 28 years and a few days. But it is Kylian Mbappe who is scoring that one day short of his 26 years. So yes, Kylian Mbappe scoring is the talk of the town in the Champions League night matches, but things are not happening good because it is Inter Milan who has got those defeat under Bayer Leverkusen, and it is that clutch moment of Xabi Alonso's men. They are getting those wins against Inter Milan, and Simone Inzaghi's men, they were just having goal-less. I mean, they were not conceding a single goal, and they were winning all the Champions League matches. Yes, it is Liverpool also who have won all those Champions League matches, but they had conceded one. And it is Atalanta also who hadn't got those defeats in the Champions League, getting it back in the 4 months after the Super Cup against Real Madrid, getting those losses. This is huge. Champions League matches, anything can happen because these fixtures are not just those home and away. This new schedule of the fixtures, what a toll and what a surprise for the fans over here. We are taking a dig deep into the match between Atalanta and Real Madrid, as well as the likes of Leverkusen and Inter Milan. But yes, things started where Paris Saint-Germain were at Salzburg at the Red Bull Arena, getting those 3 goals, and the likes of Ramos, Mendes and Doué scoring those 3 goals. Paris Saint-Germain getting that second win. I mean, just look at the table over here. Paris Saint-Germain are at the 24th spot. I mean, just on the verge of qualification for the Champions League, because they have got those 2 wins out of those 6 games, whereas Salzburg has got just a single win out of those 6 games. So it was PSG getting those wins against Salzburg, but it was the worst happening for Leipzig because they haven't won a single game in the Champions League, and out of those 6 matches, they were hosting Aston Villa at the Red Bull Arena. I mean, Leipzig at their home not winning. It was Openda and Baumgartner getting those 2 goals equalizers against Aston Villa. But yes, John Duran, the man on the substitutions just made by Unai Emery, so fast in the second half. Just after the completion of the first half, he made the substitution of his super sub John Duran, and this guy, what to tell about him. Unai Emery is the man who is much more dependent upon this guy John Duran, and adding more words to it, it was Berkeley getting those edges on the 85th minute. Aston Villa has scored against Leipzig those 3 goals, and in the table of the Champions League, Aston Villa have moved to the 3rd spot, winning 4 games, and they have just conceded 3 goals in the Champions League. It is huge. But RB Leipzig are already out of the Champions League, not winning a single game of the 6 games. So yes, what they have focused just is the Bundesliga, which they have been left, and the DFB Pokal they are playing in. So much of worries for Leipzig because they are not having that strain, and the injuries of Xavi Simons, Poulsen, David Rom, Bichabu, Ilmas, as well as Kodrago and Lukeba, much of the worries are there, and Marco Rose's team are out of the Champions League. It was the next game where PSV Eindhoven were traveling to Brest at the Stade du Rondoro Stadium, and yes, Brest, talking about them, they have done a good, decent performance in the Champions League with the goal of Lee Cardinal, this man in the 43rd minute, just on the edge of the completion of the first half, getting those goals. And Brest are at the number 5th spot with 4 games win, and they have conceded 6 goals and scoring 10. They are doing good. And Brest, to talk about, they are yet to face Barcelona. That is the critical match which we will be having that watch. But it was the Liverpool, the mighty giants, who haven't faced those defeats in the Champions League and still remaining unbeaten and just conceding 1 goal, and that too was in the first game of the Champions League against AC Milan. That is Liverpool with that penalty of Mohamed Salah. But just look at the stats of this game. It was 15 shots, 7 on target, where the likes of Girona, who were also having those 13 shots, their possession was less, but 5 shots on target. They just couldn't get it. It was the sole penalty opportunity from Mohamed Salah, which he missed against Real Madrid. But in the Premier League, he scored back-to-back that penalty, and in the Champions League also scoring that against Girona. So Liverpool stays on the top of the table over here with 18 points and 6 wins out of those 6 games. But it is the likes of Girona just getting those 1 wins out of those 6 games. It was much predicted in my live stream where we were having those watch alongs. But yes, the most astounding fact is that Bayer Leverkusen getting those clutch moment goals. Xabi Alonso known for those clutch moments in the Bundesliga in the past season. This season in the Bundesliga, they are not at the top, 6 points behind Bayern Munich, but still against Inter Milan, they have scored, and it is Mukele who scored on the 90th minute. I mean, this man who made that transfer this season at the Bundesliga at Leverkusen, and Xabi Alonso must be so much proud because he was seen on the lines just celebrating this goal against Simone Inzaghi's Inter Milan, because Inter hasn't conceded a single goal, and neither they had lost a single game in the Champions League prior to this. But look at this shot after the March 2021, where Inter got those loss against Manchester City. Pep Guardiola's man, this is the first time where they had just 6 shots and none of them were on target. This is disheartening because this game was at the Bay Arena, the home of Leverkusen. And Leverkusen getting those wins against Bayern Munich in the DFB Pokal, where Bayern were down to 10-man. Manuel Neuer, their captain, getting those red cards, and just 16 minutes, it was Leverkusen winning it by 1 goal. That is a huge blow which Leverkusen has given back-to-back, defeating Bayern Munich in the DFB Pokal, making them out of the run, as well as defeating Simone Inzaghi's Inter Milan. Oh my God. And the stats over here, 17 shots. I mean, Leverkusen players were just bombarding the nets. 5 on target, 2 big chances, they converted 1. This is huge because this table of the Champions League, where Simone Inzaghi's men have to just drop down the table because of this performance of the clutch moment goals of Leverkusen's Mukele. That is what the aspiring fact is, because here it is at the number 2 spot. It is Leverkusen, 4 wins, 6 games, 1 draw, 1 loss. That was against Liverpool, who are at the top. And yes, Inter, 6 games, 4 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw. But yes, the goal difference is that what is lying them just 2 points, 2 places behind Leverkusen. This is astonishing because in this game, this late moment goal, the clutch moment which is happening for Leverkusen, will this season in the Champions League also Leverkusen perform those clutch moments? It will be too hard to predict so soon because much of the fixtures are still left. Because in this game where 60% of the possession was enjoyed by Leverkusen, and yes, in the Champions League after the 2011 and 12, this is the first time they are conceding, and in their European history they haven't done, winning those Champions League matches. And it is the final team to ship a goal in the Champions League is the Simone Inzaghi's Inter Milan. That was all about Leverkusen and Inter Milan at the home of Leverkusen. But Sporting CP talking about their game against Club Brugge. I mean, Ruben Amorim, as he has left Sporting CP have started losing their games in the Liga Portugal as well as in the Champions League, and Club Brugge getting their own goal from Sporting CP. Charisma was the player on the 24th minute, but it was Nielsen on the 84th minute scoring. But yes, what about Victor Gyökeres? Because in the lineup over here, it was Trincao, Gyökeres as well as Quenda in the lineups, whereas the likes of Homeland and Simones were in the midfields. But yes, in the table, Sporting CP is still decent because they have won 50% of their games, as we had predicted much before, that just 50% of wins or more than 65% of those losses in your bags will count you to the top 24 of the table, and that is what is happening because Sporting CP is at the 12th position. That is bad. And Club Brugge, which this win, they have moved up to the 14th position. Club Brugge are really doing good. That is astonishing for Sporting CP, and Ruben Amorim must be worried that what is happening to his team of glory in the Liga Portugal this season. But it was Bayern facing Shakhtar Donetsk, previously facing each other, which Bayern has the record of scoring those 7 goals against Shakhtar in the 2015 Champions League final stage. But in this game, it was the worries for Bayern because just look at the lineup over here. It was the likes of Lama, Upamecano, Kim Min-jae and Guerrero, Kimmich and Goretzka, the veteran midfielders staying there. Olise, Musiala and Sane, with the likes of Thomas Muller being their captain because it was the injuries of Manuel Neuer, Alphonso Davies, Hiroki Ito, Josip Stanisic, Palina, the new signing, Harry Kane, the forward, scoring 64 goals in those 64 games for Bayern, Kingsley Coman, that veteran winger, as well as Serge Gnabry. I mean, a huge list of 9 injured players in their bags. Bayern traveled to the Veltinis Arena, the home of Shakhtar Donetsk, and it was just left with this stunning aspect. Bayern were not looking that confident because of the previous loss to Leverkusen in the DFB Pokal, where their captain Manuel Neuer getting those red cards in just 16 minutes of the gameplay. But it was Lima scoring it. But in the start of this game, it was Shakhtar Donetsk, Kevin scoring those 5th minute. The 21-year-old Brazilian was just the target against Lima, and he was just overtaking Lima at any cost in every aspect of the game, whereas Upamecano and Kim Min-jae were looking decent on the defensive aspects. But it was all left with the late first half goal from their captain Thomas Muller, the veteran, the legend for Bayern, scoring that in the 45th minutes. And it is again Olise getting those penalties. The absence of Harry Kane, Olise took that penalty and netted it. And Musiala, who was looking a bit frustrated at times with those tackles because he is not getting those goals, as well as his dribbles are not working that good for Bayern because the creativity of the Bayern forwards are missing these times. Yes, Musiala scored that in the 87th minute, and it was Olise again scoring on the 93rd minute late in the stoppage time. Bayern winning it 5-1, crushing Shakhtar again in the European history. But not the least and the best is that of Atalanta and Real Madrid. What a game it was. Atalanta were backfiring with the likes of Lookman, as well as their first half late first half goal scoring opportunities from De Ketelaere. That was a penalty. I mean, just look at the lineup over here from Real Madrid. It was Brahim Diaz, Bellingham, Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe. On the forwards, it was Mbappe scoring on the 10th minute. Ceballos as well as Valverde on the midfields. Lucas Vazquez was against Lookman, but every time Lookman was going in, he was just dribbling past Lucas Vazquez as well as Tchouaméni like anything. And yes, Courtois has also been defeated by Lookman in this game a few times. Rudiger was the man who was doing those critical destroy moments at the centre backs. Yes, Garcia, the new left back, which Real Madrid has found in their squad with the absence of Mendy, is definitely doing good. But yes, Vinicius back in the squad after those injuries. It was the sad moment because Kylian Mbappe scoring his 50th goal of the Champions League just had to leave the field on the 36 minutes because of some injuries. And yes, there are reports that it is not worth that concern because Ancelotti has confirmed that yes, Mbappe is good and he will definitely come up bright in the next matches with no much worries about his injuries. But yes, in the injuries of Real Madrid, it is Carvajal, Alaba, Militao, Mendy as well as Camavinga who were injured. And yes, these substitutions were the likes of Arda Güler, Luka Modric and Asensio as well as Rodrigo was brought in after the substitution of Kylian Mbappe in the 36 minutes. But it was that moment where Real Madrid got those opportunities. It was Vinicius Jr. who finished it so beautifully in the 56 minutes, but the Kylian Mbappe goal scoring from his right foot was a marvel because in the first 2 minutes he got a chance, but that was declared offside. But yes, Bellingham also scored on the 59th minute. It was left for Lookman to show those turners, and yes, he was doing with the likes of De Ketelaere as well as Pesali, but De Roon, their captain, on the defensive aspects, he was lacking those because it was the likes of Diaz as well as Vinicius Jr. They were just manhandling De Roon, the captain of Atalanta. And yes, Gasperini had nothing to do much in it because yes, Lookman was not looking that clinical. He was having those shots, he was having those dribbles, he was having those positions, he was having those magnetic moments on the field. But with just 56% of position which Atalanta had, 20 shots were taken, and yes, 10 shots by Real Madrid, 9 on target by Lookman and 6 on target by Real Madrid. It was something which Atalanta was building up good, and there was some late chances on the edge of the stoppage time, but nothing could be happened by them because it was the likes of Reddy not getting those substitutions as well as not connecting the ball properly in the edge of the penalty box against Madrid. So it was Madrid who has been winning on the spree, and in the table from the 24th spot, this big European giant has crawled up to the 18th spot. And the next 2 fixtures for Real Madrid is definitely not a worry because they have got the likes of 2 more teams to be played. It is Salzburg and it is Brest. Some wins against Salzburg, it is definitely a must for Ancelotti's men, as well as against Brest. I don't think that will be too comfortable, but yes, Brest are playing too good and that could add some kind of worries for Ancelotti or not. It will be a watch to look for. But talking about the big aspect is our next watch along of matches. Today it is the likes of Atletico Madrid who are going to face Slovan Bratislava, as well as Lille and Sturm Graz are going to face each other. And yes, the most happening thing is it is Arsenal and Monaco who are going to face, who is Mikel Arteta aiming to because of his some lack of form in the Premier League where his team gets those wins just with the aerial duels, is going to happen against Monaco. And Dortmund and Barcelona are also facing at the home of Dortmund. All hails for Dortmund because they have to go big against Hansi Flick. Hansi Flick is that Bundesliga pro. He has got those experiences. Will he come up and shine against Dortmund? It will be a must watch. And the likes of Juventus and Man City, this is going to be huge because Juventus are playing that big because Thiago Motta is just having those characters. And in the Serie A, they are also very close to the top spot, just lagging 1 point behind those first spot from Napoli. Whereas Manchester City getting those losses, I mean, 7 to 8 games losses for Guardiola. This has never happened in the history of Guardiola. What he is doing at Manchester City, it is also be a watch to look at. So what are you waiting for? Before ending this video, give us those like, share and subscribe. And yes, join our watch along. We have got those links over provided with the streaming aspects. So yes guys, Champions League nights are back today. Also we will be having those. Till then, bye bye, keep going.